Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Scorpio February 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off is, well, as far as February goes, the sun will be in Aquarius from the 1st until the 18th. So the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio at this time. So at this time for Scorpio, there could be a strong focus, concentration of energy and attention put into perhaps the future. And at the as far as preparing for one's end of life, the 4th house is about the end of life, and this doesn't mean the end of life is going to come at this time. But what I'm saying is, even if it's for younger people, it could be a time for perhaps preparation and making those investments so you have that nest egg or what have you when that time does come. So, I mean, Aquarius energy is very futuristic. It could be about a lot of concentration of energy into a future home and maybe expressing innovation and ingenuity with family members, and also really about maybe being progressive and future oriented regarding traditions as well. So anyway, next thing up is, as far as February goes, the sun will be in Pisces from the 18th until the 28th. So the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, this could be a strong, real power of concentration, attention, and strong focus perhaps put into compassion, idealism, imagination, perhaps in one's creative endeavors and pursuits, their hobbies, and the compassion being strongly shown perhaps with children and people that they may be involved in a love or romantic relationship with. This could be a very strong period perhaps for shining in creative matters. It could be doing something with the metaphysical, such as astrology, which they might put that creative spin on it, and also perhaps using maybe in intuition in 5th house matters, and possibly even things connected of a speculative nature, and even gambling in some cases. So, but just be careful, because intuition doesn't always mean it's going to be accurate. Things that are there's a reason why things are called speculative and gambling, because gambling is about a gamble and it doesn't guarantee anything, and speculation is speculation. So anyway, next thing up is the new moon will be in Aquarius on February 15th. So the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be about perhaps a new, unusual, unconventional, or unorthodox family member, such as somebody that might be adopted, or might be somebody that comes into the family very spontaneously, unpredictably. It could be the result of a early or later birth, perhaps. This could also be, in some cases, maybe a period of maybe new, perhaps very unique traditions may be started at this time. And it could also be, in some cases, where maybe, I mean, you're talking about the 4th house is about, I mean, emotional security, but because it corresponds with the zodiac sign Cancer, it could be about safety and security, I believe, as well in general. And you're talking about Aquarius energy. I mean, this is like, very, electronics, computers. It could be a time where maybe one begins the process of maybe safeguarding their home with the real high-tech, really innovative computer electronics type equipment, and such as a high-tech security system, and really in using Aquarius like ingenuity perhaps as well to do so. So I mean, those are some things to look at as far as this goes. And it could be a new period for Scorpio of independence and freedom in matters pertaining to one's home and family life as well, especially if one is being really smothered by a domineering or very overly controlling family members. So anyway, next thing up is Mercury will be in Aquarius as far as February goes, from the 1st until the 18th. So the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be about expressing more, really talking about maybe things that are new, that are ingenious, inventive with family members and people they feel close at home with. This could also be, in some cases, about really communication that could be very extemporaneous, very spontaneous with people you may be close to home with. It could be a lot of conversations, maybe about new ideas and concepts for the home, perhaps. And keep in mind, too, Mercury is also about Mercury, it could be about short journeys as well. So it could be a time where maybe you decide to take maybe some family members on some short journeys, some errands if you hadn't done it previously, and doing so with a lot of that Aquarius, like you could say, a selfless energy. And this could be a lot more talking in the home, in your house, as opposed to perhaps outside, and talking about things that are Aquarius, like humanitarian things and things that are new technology, perhaps. And you might be more busy and active with the internet at home as well at this time than usual. So anyway, next thing up is, well, Mercury will be in Pisces as far as February goes from the 18th until the 28th. So the fifth houses will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio at this time. So this could be a time for Scorpio where there might be some more idealistic thinking. Sometimes it might be a little unrealistic regarding children and loved ones, and maybe what they could do as far as their hobbies go, at matters connected with one's hobbies. This could also be a time where communications might be a little bit more ambiguous than usual, and you might be misconstruing what some people are saying in regards to the fifth house, such as maybe a love or romantic partner, your children perhaps if applicable, people that you might share a hobby with or creative endeavor with. And also keep in mind too that this is a little quicker time for one to be a little bit more gullible and be easily bamboozled and led. So so be very wary as far as things of a speculative nature at this time. If someone's trying to get you to invest in something that's very iffy, for example, and they say, they say this is almost, everything but foolproof, it's a very good time to proceed with caution and be very prudent and investigate maybe this company on the internet or whatever you need to do, or these people that are people or person that's trying to get you to maybe do something, and it's really, and you see it as very speculative. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Venus, as far as February goes, will be in Aquarius from the 1st until the 10th. So the fourth houses will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time, this could be perhaps about buying Aquarius-like things for the home, such as things that are computer, electronics related. It could be putting high-tech things in your home, getting the new state-of-the-art items, whether it's a TV or entertainment center or what have you. This could also be about, too, when you're talking about Venus and Aquarius, the fourth house also represents the end of life. So it could be a time where you might have maybe some really spontaneous spending, perhaps on maybe something that's going to provide for you at the end of your, the latter part of your life. And whether you're a younger person or an older person, you might be starting, maybe this is the time where you maybe is a good period to start doing that and putting that money aside for something like that. And anyway, for things for the end of your life, the latter period of your life. And also too, looking at this could be about really showing maybe perhaps love and enjoyment of the unusual and the unorthodox and unconventional with family members as well. An enjoyment of doing maybe things that might be a little bit different and unique, that might be new traditions at the center. Aquarius energy can often be about what's new and what's original and what you haven't tried before. So it could be a time where you might express enjoyment of these new traditions. And if you're unattached, Scorpio, it might be a time where you may find maybe that maybe an elusive love or potential or prospective significant other that might be a sun, moon, or ascendant in Aquarius, or somebody that simply embodies Aquarius characteristics, somebody that you may feel close to home with, or it might be somebody that might be that might be near your actual home and residence. So anyway, well, next thing up, Venus will be in Pisces as far as February goes, from the 10th until the 28th. So the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, this could be time for Scorpio where they might need to be careful. I mean, there might be some deceptive charm, perhaps coming from a child or maybe even a romantic partner. This is the time too where, I mean, you're looking at the 5th house as your hobbies and really things of enjoyment. But when you're talking about Venus and Pisces, that energy could be a little bit lethargic, lackadaisical, be about enjoying things that are more about relaxing and more about lethargy and just kind of maybe meditating. But at the same time, being at the 5th house, it's something that could be truly enjoyed, and it could be done perhaps with children or something or with a romantic partner. At this also though, this could be a time too where you might enjoy Pisces-like things with children and a romantic partner. It could be something that may be, of course, Pisces related, such as the metaphysical, which can include astrology, things of a fantasy nature, such as playing a game like Dungeons and Dragons or some video game, something that takes you into kind of a fantasy realm. It could be the enjoyment of photography, or chemistry even, or even poetry. I mean, and these could be things that might even wind up being a hobby as well. And if Scorpio, if unattached, this could be a time where you might find maybe that potential or prospective romantic partner or significant other that might be a Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply somebody that embodies those characteristics. And it could be something where maybe at the place where you might meet them could be something at an entertainment complex or like a movie theater, or maybe a place where you share a shared hobby with someone, or some kind of a place like an amusement park. So anyway, next thing up, Mars will still be in Sagittarius, so the 2nd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, this could be perhaps there might be people that you work with, or the place where you generate money at, and the people that are there with you. It may be a time where the situation with them might be a little bit more acrimonious and contentious than usual. There might be philosophical differences with these people. This could be a time too where one actually might literally have, accidents, perhaps, almost literally tripping over one's possessions. I mean, when especially got this foolhardy Sagittarius type energy that's not exactly known for being careful. Sagittarius, that is a sign I think has along with Aries, I think those two probably have the most accidents in the zodiac. So this could also be a period too where you might put a lot of that energy and really vitality into something sports, as working out vigorously or something outdoors. And this could be tied in for perhaps better self-esteem and self-worth at this time. It could be a way to work out perhaps anger and aggression if that is there at this time. So anyway, next thing up is Jupiter will be in Scorpio still, so the 1st house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So, well, the first thing is that, keep in mind that Jupiter, as I've stated in previous videos, can be paradoxical. It can be, it's very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also be really, it could have the tendency to expand and enlarge, and it could expand perhaps maybe it could make you a little bit sneakier, a little bit more surreptitious than usual. And at the same time too, it could expand the positive attributes and qualities of Scorpios, such as the indomitable spirit Scorpios, their willpower, and really and the ability to be resourceful, and also in guile as well. The positive attributes can be expanded, but at the same time, keep in mind the waistline could be expanded to it this time. So especially dark, foods that Scorpio might like, such as real rich dark foods. Just be careful of overindulgence at this time, Scorpio. And also, another thing is that when you're talking about this energy, this could be very fortuitous for new beginnings, and it could be something Scorpio-like, such as the occult supernatural, such as astrology. It could be something connected with magic, alchemy, even a locksmithing, forensics, investigation, something that could be Scorpio related. It could also be about really transforming the physical body, especially when we're talking about if it actually literally is the ascendant that Jupiter is actually passing, or in one's literal first house, I should say, in their actual natal charts. So anyway, and also this could be in the vitality can be increased strongly as well, especially if this is either making the conjunction to one's actual ascendant or the sun sign. If it's hitting the moon, then it's more about maybe the emotional energy might be increasing, the mood might be more buoyant and more exuberant than usual. So anyway, and the emotional energy can be expanded. So anyway, next thing up is Saturn will still be in Capricorn. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio at this time. So for Scorpio at this time, Scorpio might experience some restrictions and limitations, perhaps in their communications, which might leave them feeling a little bit despondent and melancholy. This could be too, in some cases, Scorpio might wind up taking care of perhaps a debilitated or sickly family member, which could leave him feeling a little bit dejected as well. I'm sorry, not just a family member. What I should say is a debilitated or sickly sibling, perhaps, or even somebody that might be a neighbor that they might be taking care of. That could be that could leave them again feeling a little bit melancholy, dejected, and despondent, and could be something connected with one's maybe Capricorn, like such as one's knees, or perhaps it could be the bones, or something wrong with the bones, something that could be Capricorn related. So anyway, next thing up is Uranus will be in Aries still, so the sixth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio at this time. So for Scorpio at this time, they might experience maybe some erratic and sporadic situations at work. It could give maybe some, maybe where the work, the employment might be a little erratic and sporadic at this time, or maybe Scorpio might choose an unusual job, or it could be something connected, something Uranus-like, such as astrology, or another esoteric subject, or something connected with computers or electronics, or even maybe like aerospace, or something that could be involve innovation. Really, and also looking at this as well, this could be something where something unusual in the health might come up at this time. I remember Uranus rules electricity. I have Uranus almost exactly conjunct my sixth house cusp in my natal chart, and I've had some extensive nerve damage, and I've had shock sensations in various parts of my body. So I understand, especially my arms more than anything. But the point being, it could be something where you got to be extra careful at this time, where you don't do something to maybe the nerves, or something that might cause that some kind of shocking or tingling sensation, and cause maybe even nerve damage, or because I consider that kind of an unusual debilitation, which is what I have. And also keep in mind too that this could be at this time where looking at Uranus, and you're talking about the sixth house, really I mean, your daily routine, there might be some disruptions to it, and there might be really some things where you have inconsistency in it. So those are some things to look at this time as far as that goes. So next thing up, Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So for Scorpio at this time, well, on the negative side, this could be, in some cases, some dissipation and dissolving, perhaps, of the connection with a loved one, or it could be a love romantic partner, even a child, perhaps, in some instances. At the same time, this could be a period for Scorpio where he or she might pick up a hobby, which might be Neptune-like, such as photography, chemistry. It could be something, it could be dancing, poetry, the metaphysical, which could include astrology, of course. But when I look at this too, when you're talking about Neptune in the fifth house, it's easier at this time for one to be a little bit beguiled or deceived in matters of a speculative venture. So just be careful and wary of con men and con women, so to speak, in trying to get you to sign up for something that's very speculative. And watch, I mean, because this energy could be about, Neptune could be very dissolving and dissipating, but at the same time, this could maybe be about maybe a gambling interest, I think, that might be dissolved at this time. So that's not necessarily all bad. And that being said, matters with children and people that are in, you might be in a love romantic relationship with, might be a little bit more nebulous and unclear than usual at this time as well, Scorpio. So it's something to look at. It could, in some isolated cases, it could be where somebody you're in a romantic relationship with, or even a child, might succumb to some kind of alcohol or drug use, or maybe even accidental assimilation of a drug such as radon. So next thing up is, well, Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. At this time for Scorpio, remember that, I mean, most of you, don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but I always do it. Generally anyway, or at least most of the time I try to remember to do it. But Pluto is about death, and in some cases this could be the death of a sibling at this time, or it could be a neighbor that you have, that maybe a close neighbor you have that might pass away. This could also be about the obliteration and destruction of maybe one's general communications, but it doesn't mean, Pluto is about regeneration and rebirth, so it could mean that, when one set of people that you communicate with goes away or is destroyed, it could be that new ones are supplanted. It could be the result of moving to a different neighborhood, for example, and those communications figuratively may come to an end, to a death, so to speak, but they doesn't mean they can't be supplanted at some point. And also, this could be a time where you might have power struggles with siblings and neighbors even. And also, this could be a time where maybe matters like with short journeys are maybe obliterated to some degree, and maybe for it could be for various reasons, but it really, for whatever, it could be something maybe where you have, in some cases it could be due to some limitation, maybe because of maybe not being able to drive, or not physically impaired, or in some cases it could simply be not having the funds to be able to get yourself around and making these short trips. So these are some things to look at as far as this goes as well. And it could be, in some cases, this could be about the obliteration maybe of a connection, maybe, or connections with people that were from your early education as well. And this could be also about some transformation connected with communication. Doesn't mean that you're going to lose your voice box or necessarily lose your ability to talk, but it could mean that maybe you're trying to communicate perhaps more in different ways and making a transformation, whether it's through imagery or photography or more through the internet. This could be that period where you make that major change or transformation as far as that goes. It could even be being able to be bilingual, maybe could be another example. Anyway, next thing up is the North Node will still be in Leo, so the 10th house will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, the North Node, in transit can often be about issues we have to confront. So at this time, this could be about possibly confronting a domineering, arrogant, or even overbearing authority figure, or it could even be the dominant parent, which is often the father, some superior or supervisor. And also at this time, this could be about maybe confronting issues maybe regarding the reputation. I mean, could be, in some cases, it could be negative. It could be done with a lot of that Leo-like ferocity, that courage, and that fortitude. And also, I mean, it may be a period where you might have to be a little bit more extravagant. Maybe to sometimes it takes money. It doesn't always just take money to make money, but money to maybe to increase notoriety and recognition if you're trying to get yourself out there more, and you may have to spend more money, such as example promoting something, a video you may have, or some kind of blog post or blog on Facebook or on YouTube or something, or video on YouTube I should say. So things of that nature can come around at this time as far as North Node in Leo, and we're talking about the 10th house. And at the same time, this could also be about expressing, maybe you're directed toward expressing more generosity in your career. And it could also be, you know, giving, even if it's just giving more time, and perhaps getting maybe that trying to get that attention, accolades, and acclaim for your career matters and what you've accomplished as far as your ambitions go. Anyway, next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, the Black Moon Lilith can often be about an unveiling and revelation, and this could be a time for Scorpio where perhaps maybe a ruthless or tyrannical qualities of a sibling or even a neighbor might come out, one that could be overambitious or very strongly undemonstrative. This could be too where, I mean, sometimes this could be about when the Black Moon Lilith could be about what might put us in a strong state of fright and trepidation, and this could also be then about perhaps having a limited communications life or some kind of limited rapport relationship with one's siblings or with one's neighbors perhaps, or even people that might have been involved in one's early education. If this is somebody that's currently in school, in as far as grade school in their early education or what have you, this could be also about a real strong fear about maybe being limited in what, as far as the knowledge they could assimilate in their just general experience in that early education. So anyway, and also this could be about really in some cases maybe something that might come out, be unveiled as far as Scorpio goes, that doesn't want to come out of the bag, so to speak. Maybe a depressing communications life with their communications in general that might have some restrictions and limitations, and they just they didn't want it to come out, but maybe somehow it does come out of the bag, so to speak, at this time. Last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces, so the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, this could be really some emotional sufferings for Scorpio that might be connected with really chaotic conditions and confounding situations in their love life, confusion and with children as well, perhaps, if applicable. This could also be about, in some cases, where maybe a child or even a romantic partner might get involved in some kind of drugs or alcohol, or maybe even have some kind of accidental drug assimilation such as radon. And also too, this could be about even maybe being overly delusional in one's love romantic life, or even choosing maybe their things of enjoyment for themselves that really were not the most, maybe they weren't the most realistic things or logical things to do. Maybe there's a little self-deception there in terms of what they thought that was going to be some enjoyment of, and maybe they just didn't receive it, and really it could have been about self-deception for Scorpio at this, as far as this goes. So, and also being able, and at the same to keep in mind that the Pisces energy could be somewhat lethargic, it could be very relaxed, and it could be too, maybe there could be some suffering over being maybe too relaxed regarding matters connected with children, things of our in their things that are pertaining to one's love life. It could even be in pursuing some kind of hobby or interest, or really, I mean, could be a possibility too at this time. And also perhaps being deceived in matters connected of a speculative nature, and really maybe there's some addiction perhaps to gambling, and Scorpio is doing is really going through some emotional suffering because of it. So anyway, but that being said, keep in mind that Chiron is the wounded healer. So in the areas that Scorpio is having trouble with in connection with this Chiron and Pisces fifth house energy, they may be able to help others going through similar comparable experiences, and doing so with that Pisces like empathy, compassion, and self-sacrifice. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Scorpio February 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Sagittarius February 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.